I didn't go the doctor route or whatever other stereotype of job that Chinese parents probably expect you to go into. Hi, my name's Shinny, and I'm a big lover of art culture, nature, and big on social activism, and this is the story of how that all combines into the collective. So I currently run the collective art events, the collective makerspace, and the collective wildflower.
What tea are you having?
I actually carry these teas on my back from Canada. They're kind of mostly for personal use right now, but we do get people that come in and they want to just check out what it is that we're kind of stashing behind the counter.
All right, and I've got banana bread as well.
Yeah.
Are you gonna have some?
I ate like a lot of banana bread at the start, and now I just can't eat it anymore because I ate so much.
A lot of people have been to at least one or more collective events, or at least when they think about the collective, there's a certain look, feel that immediately comes to mind. I'm sure you are well aware of this.
I think we try our best to convey a certain feeling. I think that's really nice to hear because that means that has translated through. And people have told me like they've gone to other events that might be like a different type of pop-up or whatever, that we've managed to kind of retain some sort of sense of branding and consistency with that. So it's like they know what they're going to get when they come here. Is that kind of vibe that the whole team has put their heart and effort into.
Right, and I think that's a very good achievement for you to have done so as well. And that translates as well into the wildflower.
Ta-da!
Ta-da! Can you share a little bit about what the wildflower is?
It's kind of the food and flower extension of the collective. So the wildflower actually was at the makerspace.
Right.
For a really long time, and I had always wanted to open a cafe as part of like our 5-10 year plan for the collective. So when we got offered this space, everything kind of fell into place, and we kind of went ahead and getting creative with food. One of our first events was a pop-up dinner. We've always done pop-up dinners. Like we've done a lot of stuff with food, like create grazing tables and do different sort of ways of like presenting food or playing with food. But we never really had a specific place to do that in. So this is kind of now our little outlet for that.
Right, and I love that you've got almost
big windows, lots of light.
Windows, natural light and everything.
Yeah.
Do you still sell flowers and deliver flowers?
I still do that on the side.
Right.
The food is kind of taking more of a focus right now.
Okay. And have you always been into food design?
I grew up with a mom who was an amazing cook, so I just had that instilled in me from a really young age. And we've traveled a lot. I was really lucky to travel as a kid, see a lot of different foods out there. So I think just having that influence me in terms of how I think about food was really important in terms of getting to this place.
Where did you study or do your further studies?
Sydney, yeah. But I did spend a year in France on exchange, so I was in Paris for a year. That was amazing. Yeah, just to be submerged in a completely different culture like that.
I think personally you have a really good eye for design. I really do think that.
I feel like a bit of a fraud sometimes though, because I think people expect like, you need to have an art degree, you need to have a graphic design degree, and so part of the thing of the collective that I wanted to show people is that you don't need that. But that is still a common stereotype. I think, I want people to know like, you don't have to go to art school to enjoy being creative.
Did you personally have any education in the arts or?
No, I wasn't allowed.
Right.
I mean, my parents are quite traditional in that sense. They're like, go to business school and you're going to be an accountant in a top 500 firm or something. Like that was their dream for me. But I had wanted to study fashion at a really young age. Like I had adored fashion since I was a kid and begged them to go to fashion school when I was 18, and they just flat out refused. So I spent a lot of time trying to follow a career path that I think I thought I should be following, or I was obligated to follow.
What was that?
Just business in general. Like, I didn't go the doctor route or whatever other stereotype of job that Chinese parents probably expect you to go into. Shout out to all the Asian parents. Yeah, the collective really just started from being frustrated, I guess. I had to come back to Brunei really suddenly, and it was a huge contrast and a huge culture shock.
Yeah.
And I've spoken to a lot of people that have gone overseas and come back, and they feel the same way. But I think the thing that I couldn't understand is why there was no one really doing anything. So I met this girl called Osvian by chance. So this is a year after being in Brunei.
Oh, right.
And Osvian runs Creative Space Gallery now. I kind of just approached her and I was like, hey, do you just want to do something? Like, it could be fun, let's just do it. It would be a nice way to meet people. Because that's the other thing I found really hard is to, like, there are no real settings to connect with people that you don't know outside, like, an immediate circle. That was, like, kind of the beginning of starting to do events for the collective.
Have you had time to reflect back, to think about
That
how
sounds
far
like
you've
such a long
come?
time. And I remember meeting you at the start as well.
So remember you had your hat.
I was in my hat wearing phase then. Yeah. I still love hats, but
Okay.
to save everybody else from the humiliation, I stopped wearing them.
That's so cool. Does it just,
It's a clever dripper. Technology.
how would you classify, categorize, what would you call yourself?
I think I would like to call myself creative. You might not necessarily be like super skilled in one area, but I think if you just have like a passion that you can channel your energy into, that eventually becomes some kind of career.
Yeah, I remember you mentioning as well that there are certain causes you hold very dear to your heart. Do you use the collective events as a platform for that?
Yeah, I think that happened really naturally at the start. People thought we were a charity for a long time because we did so many charity events. And then I think as corporate companies came knocking, that eventually kind of had to phase out because we had to focus on doing work for corporate companies, and that takes a lot of time and effort. But yeah, I think that's always been part of the collective, is to kind of bring awareness to ideas and issues and things that are just happening outside of Brunei, because we do live in a bit of a bubble. Part of what I wanted was for people to realize that, oh, this is going on outside the world and this is actually an issue. And you know, oftentimes there is something relatable that is happening here, but there's just not really a lot of focus on it. I think personally for me, like, animal rights is a huge issue in Brunei that needs to be addressed. Women's rights is something that I'm very passionate about. I think domestic abuse is something that's very close to my heart, and I think it is a problem in Brunei that isn't really addressed or talked about. Like, I've been in social situations where I've heard people talk about, you know, someone they know that is being abused, and the kind of motto for everyone is just that, oh, don't say anything, you know, you can't get involved, that's a family thing, or, you know, don't meddle in other people's business. So yeah, I think it's just changing that kind of mindset, which, you know, 5 years ago, when I first started doing the collective, people were like, you're crazy, there's no room for art here, it's going to be an absolute failure. And I just kind of had this little, like, belief that people will get it, like, people will understand, like, the importance of having just art culture or creativity around them and as part of their lives.
Sure.
Yeah. I think it is really easy to get lost in the corporate jungle. Once
So
you, yeah, I don't know if you feel the same,
Yeah.
but it's just, there's a really fine line between business and doing something for social good. And
Yeah.
you know, a lot of the times it's really difficult to figure out how to toe that line. And I think after 4 years of kind of almost doing everything that we could possibly do under the sun here in Brunei, I think you just realize that it's important to focus on doing what makes you feel good,
Right.
and not necessarily what somebody is trying to pay you like tens of thousands of dollars to do. Yeah.
I think it's also part of the journey to get lost a little bit and then realize what you're...
Yeah, you're like proper alignment, right?
Yeah. So what is in store for the collective?
I don't know. I mean, I think there's a lot of things that I would like to do, but the collective grew really organically, and I think it's what I realized is it's okay for that. Like, it's okay to not know exactly where you're going next or have like a accurate, like you're hitting these milestones at these days. It's just a thing of, you know, we have a lot of luxuries in Brunei, and especially the luxury of doing what we want to do. People have a lot of time here. So yeah, I think it's okay for now for me that we're just doing what we love, and whatever comes up, we'll see if that's the right opportunity, and yeah, just kind of carry along.
The makerspace. Yeah, I'd love for you to take us there and have a look.
Yeah, there's been some changes, so yeah, we should go check it out. So welcome to the makerspace. We've kind of covered our entire stairwell with murals. So we've had a lot of guest artists come in and do murals on our walls. This is by a local artist called Stain Bien Phai. These were some of our interns at the time, Daniel, who now works for Filterworks. The mural at the back is 2 graffiti artists from KL and Singapore. Yeah, so it's really cool because we've got like a lot of international art on our walls. Should we go in?
Yes.
Welcome to the makerspace. We've got a bunch of different makers in here. This is Enya Bijou's little retail corner. It's over there. So she does handmade jewelry, lifestyle products based around gemstones. And she was kind of really one of the first in Brunei to take handmade jewelry to a new level. And then have kind of our free library section open to anybody to walk in. Like, it's technically all of ours office. We do let people walk in just because I think that's the nature of what we wanted it to be. So we would spend a lot of time in cafes, working there, doing crafts there, and it kind of got to the point where I knew we needed a space of our own.
Yeah.
And I wanted a safe space, like a safe creative space, so people that come in here can kind of do whatever they want, express themselves however they want. Eventually just kind of chanced upon this space.
Yeah.
It was actually double what it is now. We've scaled it down recently because we're trying to look for a different space.
So who else do you have on the team?
So these are our current team. We've got a couple of interns from different schools. Nadia here handles a lot of our social media marketing. John is kind of like the MVP of the collective, so he does a lot of the heavy lifting for stuff. Yeah, it's kind of been a very transitional space, so a lot of people have come in and out of the space, both makers and staff, and it's just, I think it's nice because you kind of always get a new flow of energy coming in and out.
Yeah.
So a lot of the times people will come into this space and they go, what is this place?
Right.
And when we explain it to them, they're a bit like, what? Like, that's a thing? You can have a space like this? You can have an open co-working space and use it for events, and you guys all kind of do this stuff, and so it's still a space that I think is being discovered even now.
Do you want to show me the rest of your...
Sure. My hat collection, all the hats I used to wear, and overalls. We've got a ton of equipment. We had an intern called Hanif who was extremely talented, and he had designed this poster for the Australian High Commission. And the artist actually ended up wanting to buy the artwork to use on his tour in Australia. There's been a lot of really cool moments in our collective lifespan that we've been able to snapshot and put up on our walls.
I would like to ask you about your logo.
So our logo was designed by our friend Jay Johar. He's a local artist. It's very unconformist for a logo. I think when you think about a logo, there are a lot of kind of really typical design guidelines that you have to follow, and we just totally broke all of those. But it's become super distinctive, and people recognize it immediately.
Yeah.